Joining me now to try to dissect the latest lefty silliness is commentator Liz Storer. Liz, it is amazing to have you here. Now, it's currently the 4th of July, which, of course, is America's Independence Day. It's a day to celebrate the signing of the Declaration of Independence and all things American. But not according to the Arizona Democrats in Pima County, who advertised an event simply titled F the 4th, if you'll pardon the insinuation. It was hosted by the Tucson Women's March, the event, and was, of course, to protest the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Now, Liz, no two ways about it. The Democrats really do hate America, don't they?
Yes, but reading this, Daisy, they should be ashamed. This is absolutely shameful on any nation's national day. But reading this, all I could think of was our Greens. How is this any different to our Greens, who regularly, well, every single year without fail, rail against our national day, the birthday of modern Australia, rail against change it. They want to change our flag, our anthem, you name it. They host Invasion Day rallies, all this kind of thing, instead of celebrating the nation that we are today, etc. and so on. I find the compatibility between the Dems and the Greens stark obvious here. I mean, we had Adam Bent just last week, wouldn't even stand with the Australian flag. I wish there was some way, Daisy, that we nations could ensure that anyone who wound up in any of our parliaments actually loved our nation as a whole and her people, every single one of them, instead of this divisiveness that comes up every year. For Americans, it's July the 4th. For us, it's Australia, January 26th.
Exactly, totally true. And look, speaking of over-the-top Roe v. Wade reactions, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has advocated yet another form of protest in the form of getting her nails done. Let's have a look at this.
I want to talk about personal acts of reclamation, because sometimes people will say, there's nothing I can do, I can't do, I feel so powerless. And there is no act too small that you can engage in. And even today, I have a personal errand. I need to redo my nails. And I've decided that I'm going to use my new manicure as almost like a personal act of reclamation for me and my story.
And Liz, the Democrats wonder why people no longer consider them the party of the working class, for heaven's sake.
How do you take this seriously, Daisy? Like, you know, every struggle requires sacrifice, you brave woman. Nothing says fighter like a manicure, Daisy. What can we say? I had to restore my faith in humanity by saying that maybe she was just doing this to make it tax deductible. But now that we know how this works, Daisy, as a passionate pro-lifer myself, I was like, well, I need to mount a counter resistance and have a day at the day spa, clearly. Doing it for the kids.
Well, look, it's all pretty spectacular. Can you just give me, in 10 seconds, a number of senior Liberal women have come forward and suggested temporary gender quotas. Liz, are they trying to out-left the left?
I think they are trying to out-left the left, Daisy, and look, this simply doesn't work. We all know when it comes to pre-selections, it's a matter of faction wars. I was pre-selected by the Liberal Party back in 2016, and let me tell you, I'm not naming names, but it was women who fought tooth and nail to make sure that I didn't make it through to the second round, because it was contested at state council, so it was up for a second round. So I also believe that they are full of hot air to some extent. This is virtue signaling, saying we need more women, we need more women. Let me tell you, as a woman who was in politics for about 10 years, women are some of the most unsupported, that's where you find some of the most unsupported women, sadly. But they'll say it to the camera because it sounds jolly good, doesn't it?
Sounds absolutely fabulous, Liz. One last topic very quickly. There has been a spike in the wake of Roe v. Wade in young men in America getting vasectomies, up to 900% more in Kansas City clinics. Are there too many young men out there who would prefer to abort a child rather than take responsibility for accidentally getting someone pregnant?
And they wonder why so many women are single, Daisy. Literally, that's what I was saying when I read this. I was like, so you mean to tell me that imagine only wanting to have sex if you knew that the woman you were sleeping with had the option of terminating any offspring that might arise. And now that that option may be taken away from you, you're going to the effort of sterilizing. I mean, seriously, what kind of a man are you? Why didn't you get sterilized in the first place rather than rely on said woman that you're sleeping with to go through such a procedure in the event that you did conceive a child? I mean, irresponsibility plus, it's just sickening. But these are the men, on the bright side, Daisy, these are the men we want withdrawing from the gene pool. So
that is very true. God love you, Liz. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
thanks for having me, Daisy.